This is Off Track.
What's up?
Are you outside, Tim? Okay.
Oh, you just got a windy hotel room? You just put a fan in your condo?
No, it's like these backgrounds are super realistic these days. Like the blurrier background.
Yeah, I just did one of those fake backgrounds.
Yeah.
4D. It's pretty cool.
It's green screen. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know where it's supposed to be. Some weird background thing. I just picked it random.
Yeah,
Looks like
cool.
Belgium. Alex, you and I have exceptionally boring looking backgrounds.
Dude, I'm in Altoona. Doesn't get much more exotic than this.
Altoona. So I take it that means you're like going testing, or
the entire series is testing at Iowa on Wednesday, which is yesterday for those listening, tomorrow for those in the present. And the entire series is here because the race was so bad last year. So there's a whole new downforce package. There is a new power level. And there's a big attempt to try and bring Iowa Speedway back to the lovely days that it used to be.
Former glory.
We will see the former glory.
So
the
more downforce?
Field of Dreams. More downforce, yes. Less power.
Less power. Okay, so we're trying to pack it up a little bit.
We're painting the white line. It's funny. The simulation for this aero package / power level, I'm not you, James, is horizontal.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's not good.
For a layman, obviously I understand what that means, but for some of our listeners who don't, what does that mean?
Well, why don't you explain, Tim, since you know?
Yeah.
I feel like everybody likes your guys' expertise.
That's true. We do get a lot of complaints when you talk too much.
There's a car going by in my living room right now, so I've got to mute.
Literal sirens going by. I can't believe you're on an actual sidewalk right now.
If you guys, you listeners, don't give us an enormous amount of credit for making this week's episode happen, like any wrongdoing that we have previously done to you, i.e. eat, i.e. have poor audio, i.e. have Tim talk too much, like all of that is forgiven. So in perpetuity.
Yeah, agreed. Lots of hurdles were jumped and concessions made to make this episode happen with all three of us. So Tim, take it away. Please explain what painting the white line means.
Going through a tunnel.
We can see that there's very blue open sky above you. That is a lie. All right, Alex, let's have you explain what painting the white line means.
Essentially, you have so much more grip available to you that you don't really need. You have excessive grip. So you kind of just drive around on the bottom on the white line. Like you don't even have to open up the radius on entry or exit.
It becomes a distance game, right? Because you can be flat out. You don't need to kind of like start up high, come down to the apex, exit up high. You just literally glue the left side tires to the white line, and it's all about who can create the shorter distance, because that's going to mean a faster average speed. And that's like what IRL Classic used to be, right? Like that was the 1.5 mile races of back in the day. And even Iowa, to be fair, when we first started going there with the IRO3, it was still kind of a pack race and a white line race. But Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sorry if I'm a bit naive on this. Last year's race was horrific, but it was horrific because nobody could pass. And so everyone just stayed in a line on the bottom and drove around to a fuel number to eliminate a pit stop.
Yes.
Because there was no tire deg, but the second lane was so bad that no one could pass a car, even if it was going very slowly.
And while you were driving around to a fuel number, you were also driving around to a right front sidewall temperature number.
Right. So my question is, how does adding a bunch of downforce and taking away a bunch of power make the second lane work all of a sudden?
Yeah. That is all of our questions too.
Got it. So now you're just going to be so comfortably going flat on the bottom. There's just zero chance of anybody going by up top.
Well, maybe you can be so far on the bottom that like lane 2 is lane 1. Maybe you can be on the apron.
Maybe. We can just like weight jack the car.
Here's something that I know with my limited knowledge of engineering that's really good for, tire temp and load is just being flat on the bottom forever.
Just more downforce. Okay. Well, we look forward to hearing all about how that went.
Yeah. But
Next
before we
week.
get to that, Road America.
Let's go over Road America. Before we even get to that, actually,
Oh, boy.
something happened last week right after we had recorded, and I don't know if we wanted to touch on it because it's like already over and done with. But the whole like Nolan Siegel McLaren statement thing,
Oh, we should definitely touch on it.
right? Like let's
Yeah.
touch on that. So after the race, not even on the broadcast, a video circulates the interwebs of Nolan being upset on the radio about a blocking penalty that he got in the race. Pretty standard. Drivers rarely get penalties and are thrilled about it. But I mean, frankly, he did deserve it. The penalty was pretty warranted. But the reaction was expected. It was pretty normal. Some curse words were used. They were directed at certain people and places and things and organizations. Look, here's the thing. It's just normal, guys. It's part of the deal. It's part of the deal of going racing, and it's part of the deal of the public having access to drivers' radios. Is you're going to hear stuff that maybe you don't like, but it's also kind of none of your business because you're eavesdropping on a conversation that you were invited into. So that was what it was. The part that kind of surprised me was the subsequent statement from the team, like admonishing his behavior and kind of forcing an apology. And I don't know about you, Alex. I thought that was over the top and not super awesome for a team to like not have their drivers back in a situation like that.
So in most all scenarios, I think I would agree with you. Where it didn't surprise me, and I don't know that I hold it against them in this particular instance. And you wouldn't know this because you didn't drive there. Each year, there's an entire kind of several hours set aside for communications and media training, if you will, with reminders and things. And like one of the very first things is we are very concerned about how you express yourself on the radio.
On the radio.
So I think, yeah. So that is a McLaren brand image thing. I don't know that I'm not saying that I agree with it, but what I am saying is all drivers, even Teddy Porkchops, when he came for a little bit, was made aware of how they feel about these certain things. So,
but that guy doesn't even know how to swear. He's too sweet. Like that's just, he's never said a swear word in his life. So it's not a concern. Yeah.
Sure. So that is like, okay. I mean, maybe still like do it behind closed doors. Like, hey, we've talked about this. Like, don't do that. Because the public statement thing with the apology, like I do think that honestly drew more attention to it than
so much more attention
than what it was. And especially considering there was some social media stuff that happened with that team a couple weeks prior, and there was no like apology or anything. I don't know, but I will give the team a little bit of grace because the drivers are all made very aware that they care a lot about radio communications in case they were picked up.
It's just so tough, man. Like, because it wasn't picked up on the broadcast. I'm sure I'm making assumptions here. I'm sure you had some outbursts in your, or sorry, not outbursts. Let's say some transmissions in your days at the team that might not have fallen within the recommended guidelines.
Yeah. I've never keyed up a radio for 2.5 minutes. So I may have said, this is stupid, or off, or I don't agree with this, or whatever. But I also haven't like the owner of the series. And you know,
I took it as the team. And I guess,
well, no, because there was not to on Nolan, because Nolan's a great kid.
Yeah.
So the radio transmission that initially came out was the one about how he disagreed with the penalty and all this sort of thing. There was another one that came out like 50 laps after that, where the team was like, "Hey, you're a lap down. Pato's racing for the lead here. Like, stay out of his way." And he was like, "No." F you guys, you put me a lap down in the first place. I'm going to do what I want to get my lap back. So I think, like anything, there's more to the story.
There's always more to the story
than we see. So I talked to Nolan in Road America. He felt very bad. He vowed to be better. He's still a young kid. He's a nice boy. I don't think
he's a nice kid. And look, we've all done it.
Caused by it.
No. We've all done it. And like, I'm with you. I think maybe a behind the closed door, like for a first public offense behind the closed doors wrist slap would probably have worked better because again, it probably just drew more attention to it the way it was handled. But whatever, they've got their ways of doing things. Not my team, not my problem. But I'm just here to say I stand with Nolan. Say whatever you want on the radio. If you don't like, and like the fans that were like, oh, well, you guys are role models. You shouldn't talk like that on the radio. That's not how it works, man. Like they don't mic up football players and play them live, right? Like they sometimes will play those clips of guys that are mic'd up and it's all very curated and it's very specific. And
take a seat, Tim. Stay for a while.
Or I am standing. Yeah, I am standing.
Or don't. It's totally fine either way. Either way is fine. Okay, so that was that. And then
well, actually, just real quick, would you guys mind if I started a Twitter beef with TK from the Off Track account just to get some more followers? It feels, and I love TK. It feels like it would be very easy to do.
I don't know.
He's find out.
He's got a lot of Twitter experience.
Yeah, lately, that's the problem.
Yeah, he's a fiery young man, Tim. Let's see if you come out on the right side of that one.
I didn't say I'd win it. I just said it feels easy to start it.
Fair. Sorry, I'm holding a towel. I just got back from the gym. I'm very sweaty. All right, Road America. That happened. That was the thing. It was a whole thing.
Sweaty,
dude. How hot was that?
It was. I think it was the hottest race I've ever done in my life.
Really?
I think so.
It's
like that Indy GP August race. I think is still maybe higher. But this one was so bad that like the yellows hurt. The yellows were painful.
That's the worst because you just don't get the airflow.
Right. Usually when the yellows come out, it's kind of nice because you get a little bit of a breather and your heart rate can come down and you can, get some water and you can, just reset yourself. These yellows were like, oh my God, please no, not another one. I'm going to die. Like
at least we had 5 in the first half of the race.
Driving. I've never been I'm not a huge fan of the heat. Like I sweat a lot, like whatever, but I can handle it. Like I'm not, I'm fine. Driving back from crossing the start finish line, the whole 4 miles back to pit lane was hard. Like it was actually like physically challenging because all of the heat is there. Your body knows that like the competition's done. So the adrenaline's starting to come down. You're starting to feel things. It was tough. And my helmet hose came off on lap 10 and my cool suit failed on lap 10. So I had those things going for me as well, which was super nice. So yeah, anyways, it was sweaty. I was pissing like dark yellow for 24 hours, which is maybe TMI.
And I mean, you're pretty good and pretty diligent about your hydration plan.
Well, yeah,
so like
super hydrated. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You know the program. That's suboptimal. Because I mean, I know there's that saying, I hate it so much, but it's like it's not the heat, it's the humidity, right? That's what makes it so tough. Because like even that Indy,
I didn't feel it was that humid. I just felt like the heat and the sun, the intensity of the sun was what was getting me. Like it was just like that tingly feeling.
Interesting. Dude, I found it pretty muggy.
Really?
But
because usually when it's super muggy, like I can't even be outside without sweating. And like I was fine at the autograph session. I was fine doing a Java House appearance. I was fine standing on the grid. Like, yeah,
interesting.
I don't know.
Because like, do you remember like that Indy GP one you're talking about? It wasn't like a sunny day. It was actually kind of an overcast day, but it was just like 80% humidity in August in Indy. And it was just like you were swimming through the air and it was
but I think it was still like 94 degrees.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. This because that was, and like Indy GP is a more physical track than Road America. So that probably contributed to it. So this was probably the hottest.
That was pre like vents on the helmet.
Yeah.
And that was pre a lot of things. So
Yeah.
It is.
Well, okay. So everyone survived the heat. Not everyone survived the race. It was a decidedly more action-packed Expel Grand Prix than we've seen.
Do you find that it would be interesting to go back, and like no one's gonna do this, but like I had a theory. Do you think the third of triple headers, people just like kind of lose their minds a little bit, or they're tired or whatever? Because like there's no reason why that race should have been a cluster, and it was.
I wonder if it's like literally everyone's given up on racing for points. And so it's just like elbows out and like zero given, and everyone's just sort of firing it in.
Joseph certainly has.
Dude. It's funny because we're talking about the heat. We saw on the back straight, the lap he crashed, he had his hand out the top of the aero screen.
Well, his cool suit failed too.
Right. So like he was obviously also struggling. Like I don't think that's why he crashed, but it was just interesting that like he did that and then, had an incident laps, corners later. But yeah, I mean, you start from the top. We had Malukas, who ended up in the gravel on lap 1, still ended up coming back and finishing like in the top 6, 7, something like that.
I think it was 5th.
Was he 5th? Top 5? Like crazy. Then who else? We had Stingray with his deal, which was wild. I don't know if you saw the replay of that one.
I did. Not awesome. Connor had a tough day out there.
Connor had a tough day.
I don't think I've ever seen an IndyCar drive around with a tail before.
No.
But it did.
So how did that happen? He just didn't know he had it on.
Hybrid starts, man. There's good things and there's bad things. There's good things in the sense that obviously you can start yourself. There's bad things in the sense that you have no idea what's still around you when you're firing the thing up.
I feel like on the replay, there was an AMR safety team member saying, like, don't go, but he just fired up and took off. And, like, thank God it wasn't attached to the truck on the other side. Or maybe he broke it off the truck.
No, he broke it off the truck.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good. But like you saw, the person was like holding their hand like this and he just took off. So look, heat of the moment, you're trying to like not go a lap down and whatever, but you got to listen to the safety team because that could have been, if that thing had slack and somebody was standing on the wrong side of it when it went taut, could have like cleaned out a person. Like could have been some.
Now, to Connor's, just to give his perspective, he did say he didn't see the person signaling on Twitter.
Yeah, for sure. Like the
think
person was standing at his right front and like the track's left front. So he was probably already looking this way and just, paying it to get going, starts up, whatever. So there was that. I mean, Will Power was trying to make passes work from 47 yards back, which was interesting. Put Kyle in a bad spot, and then Kyle promptly returned the favor. Lundgaard spun, not all by himself, but no contacts, but was forced wide. Car bottom spun, kind of similar to what happened to Joseph. Car bottom on the curb there, spun. Who else? There was more. I feel like I'm missing some.
Schwartzman,
yep. Just locked rears, I think it was, and went off. It was a high attrition race for Road America. I mean, normally that one's pretty boring on the strategy side because the windows are so small and, adding a stop is not really an option because the time lost to pit is pretty big. And you have everybody pit within 2 laps and everybody stays within 2 or 3 spots where they started. Here, we had so many yellows at weird times that the field split like 3 different times and we had like at least 3 different strategies running up front. So let's run through your weekend because it wasn't a smooth one for you. But in the race, it looked like it got better.
No, yeah. Well, the weekend was really bad. Kind of from the beginning. We just were completely missing balance and grip and pace, and there was really no solution to it until, so we came with a package that we were pretty confident in, and Christian came with a package that had worked previously on a road course earlier in the year, that we were pretty confident in. And man, when I tell you that like the only similarities between them were the fact that they were both Indy cars is true. Like there wasn't a spring rate that was the same. There wasn't a ride height that was the same. Nothing. There wasn't even a rear wing angle that was the same. And
so did you develop yours in the sim?
I'm not going to tell you about mine. I'm just going to tell you it was a setup that we had a lot of confidence in. And we got back after practice 1 being 20th and 23rd and had the exact same feedback and feeling of the car in all phases of the corner and the lap. And that was kind of a moment in the sense that there's a fundamental problem here with our approach to what we're doing at Road America. So there's a big kind of study overnight, and we come with a whole different package. Both cars are the same, and it's still terrible. And then it's like, well, practice is done. Let's go qualify. And I qualified 24th on pace. Christian qualified 20th on pace. He had a bit of a better handle on it than I did, quite frankly. He had kind of like 2.5 tenths on me all weekend. And I was like, man, it's undrivable. I don't know what to tell you. It was one of those cars, James, where like you had this mid-corner understeer that existed. So you were like, okay, I'm gonna challenge the entry and trail brake in, and you just be backwards, like completely backwards, and be like, okay, fine. I'm not gonna brake late. I'm not gonna brake hard. I'm gonna have like a humpy brake and get off the brake pedal and kind of carry mid-corner speed, like on ice. Like the fronts were wets. You just go straight. I was like, I don't even know. I feel bad because I can't tell you what the car is doing. Like I can't give you feedback on what it's doing because it's literally anything that I do makes it mad. Like I can't find any sort of rhythm or balance or anything with the car. We went down a very interesting path Sunday. And when I tell you that, or when people talk about IndyCar is, a spec championship and all these sort of things, like it very much is in terms of everyone has the same car and tire and suspension components and all this sort of thing. The dampers are everything. And I didn't experience that. I haven't experienced that ever in my career as much as I did this weekend.
Interesting.
And it was very interesting because we went from cars that were completely undrivable to making some damping changes to a car that was all of a sudden like legitimately in 25 lap and 30 lap average pace, we were 4th. And so like we completely turned the car around going in a direction that we didn't really have an understanding of. We just kind of took a Hail Mary at it and it worked. So that was the only good thing to come out of the weekend is we actually solved the problem. And I think it will bode very well for the future in terms of our race, because we started back there. We said this as a joke, in kind of the strategy meeting.
Do whatever Dixon does.
But then it turned into reality. Do whatever the 9 car does. And so for a minute that was looking really good. Like we were on the same strategy running 1-2. And then it went away, obviously. But yeah, we were basically copy pasting the 9 car, and I was like, man, this is how he does it. Didn't pass a single car all day, and I'm like, oh, I am second, chilling, like on the right strategy, got the fuel, like everyone has one stop to go, and then a yellow came that kind of derailed all of that. But that's okay, because it was looking really good for a minute, and the pace was there, so I left happy, believe it or not. I left happy.
Where did you ultimately end up? I forget.
13th.
13th. Okay.
But with a car that qualified 24th, and you're saying like, in a car that you said was undrivable, I know you guys made a lot of changes Saturday night, but like, did you feel like your
Sunday was a great day? It was honestly a very good day.
So you feel like your position was better than your car should have? Okay.
No, I think we legitimately, had we qualified right, we were a top 5 car.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you were running up front, you were on pace with the guys, even the guys that were behind you, but on the other strategy that had started up front, your Kirkwoods and your Pillows or whatever.
Dude, our last our last stint, we unfortunately were unused. We almost double stinted a set of used tires and didn't have any issues. Used reds.
Yeah.
So like that's the kind of step we took, which is unbelievable.
It's so funny, man, because when you guys all pit under that first caution on like lap 2 or 3 or whatever it was, and Dixon was in that group, I said on the broadcast, I was like, everybody remember this moment on lap 3, because we're going to be talking about it when Dixon's leading this race with 10 to go. And
sure enough,
he was leading with 10 to go. Oh, man.
Almost like you're good at your job.
Almost, but he didn't. He ran out, so it didn't work out. But I'll tell you who didn't run out.
That's why I said almost.
Fair. Pelot's ability
6 times
to, dude, the pace that this was a red race for everybody except the 10 car. Like before we came into the weekend, people were like, "Yeah, I think it might be a red race." And then we get through qualifying or get through practice 1. It's like, yeah, Reds were holding on for more than one lap, so like this could be a red race. And then like, it's going to be hot on Sunday, but we got through warm up, and I was like, man, I think it's going to be a red race. And you look at the Firestone chart at the end of the race, and it's like everyone's got 3 stints on reds and 1 stint on blacks, except the 10 car. They are black, red, black, 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 black. And they just run primaries, and they keep a pace that is very competitive whilst going longer on fuel than anybody else. I mean, the pace that he held in the last stint there when doing like 16 laps or whatever it was, which is a stretch, it's a save, is unreal. And he still did the cool down lap. Like half the field stopped at pit out because they were out of fuel and didn't have enough to do the cool down lap. This guy pit before them all, went faster than them all, and like it was like Dixon at Long Beach last year, just like taking the piss, cruising around, doing burnouts on his in lap because there was so much fuel left. But the fact that he does it on a different tire is so baffling to me, man.
Dude, imagine if he decided to do it on reds. He's like giving us like a lifeline.
He and Barry are like, let's make this interesting. Let's only run blacks today.
yeah. Let's make this a little bit of a challenge for ourselves. Like it's absurd, man. Like,
and
dude,
no,
like congrats, Felix, on win number 2 at Road America.
Right, first in class, man.
Yeah,
first in class. I gotta say, the other thing that was crazy about it. So he started 3rd, right? No, 2nd. He started 2nd. He's right up there. And what was crazy about it is if you go back and watch the first half of that race, dude, he was in some he was in some battles. He was in some ugly scenarios. He was in some 4 wide stuff going down into 5. Like he wasn't just poodling around trying to stay out of trouble. He was getting stuck in. Now, guys were also using him up because they're like, you have a race and a half lead in the championship. Screw you. And they were firing it in on him. So he was having to drive like pretty heads up. But man, it was so impressive that he was like, he's just like Dixon, man. He's just like classic Dixon, where he can find himself in these situations, but he always comes out without a scratch on the car. Like he always gets around it.
He's Dixon, but Dixon with a little bit more pace.
Yeah, like 2% more outright pace.
Even Dixon in his prime, he wasn't the qualifying guy. Like he was the guy that he guaranteed you would always be in the Fast 6, like without a doubt. But he wasn't the pole guy. He was always 4th, 5th, 6th. Yeah, occasionally he'd throw in a pole on an oval, that sort of thing. But like that wasn't his thing. It was like just I'll get in the Fast 6 and then the 9 car plus me, we will just win races. Pelot is like the same, but like on the front row.
Right. Yeah, I think Dixie's got like 20 something poles, but 60 wins, like 58 wins or whatever it is. Right. So like, I think you're exactly right.
Speaking of poles, we got to give huge props to old Louis Foster, because not only did he do that, and I'm not saying this to be disrespectful, but like in a Rahal car, but we talk about Pelot and we talk about Ganassi and we talk about all this pace that he has, and a little bit faster than Dixon and all this sort of thing. He being Pelot was on new reds. So was Scotty Mack. And I think that was it.
No, Scotty Mack wasn't. It was
He
Ray
wasn't?
Hall, Scotty, and Foster that were used. So
Okay.
Kirkwood, Pillow,
Okay.
and Rosie,
Sure. Whatever.
whoever
There
it
was
was.
there were strong cars on new tires, and Louis Foster on used reds beat their ass. And like
Went
that
faster.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is. I don't care what tire is, like what tire's better or not. If it's a red race or not, it doesn't matter. Used ain't better than new. And he beat them all. So like huge shout out to that guy.
It's not like a track like Detroit or Toronto that are super short, and so there's only 5 corners to make a difference. You're talking about Road America. You're talking about 4 miles, like a little bit of a late pickup on the throttle out of 3, and you're losing 2/10 down the back straight. You know, like you've got to be absolutely on it, and he did. I'm sorry his race didn't go better. You know, it's such a roller coaster, like such a high for him on Saturday, and I don't know. I think he ended like 14th or something. Had a rough day on Sunday. But that's, you know, he's young. He's got a lot of races in front of him. He'll get to feel the other side of it too. But I just thought it was such an exciting race, man. There was so much good action in that first half. Guys were being super aggressive. Some great racing, some on the edge racing, like borderline racing.
James, tires that don't dig and you can hammer, people are going to race.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, I guess that's part of it. It's so funny because we talk about how tire dag makes good races. Right?
Yeah,
but like when you're
what makes good races is a big difference between
Delta. Yeah.
Right. One and the other.
Yes,
Dag itself on an oval, sure, but on a road course, I don't think it does because people are smart enough. No one's going to go out there and blow their load for 4 laps. Like everyone knows that they have to like protect the tires and everything, right? This isn't 2000 and what was it? 10 when Pirelli came into F1 and no one had ever saved tires before, right? That doesn't exist now. Tire saving's a thing in motorsports. So yeah, I think that big delta between primary and alternate and a tire that holds up creates IndyCar racing that we all know and love.
And Road America. Like that's
there's been some sleepers at Road America before.
Yeah, you're right. But there's opportunity there when a car's got some pace. There's some opportunity there.
For sure.
So yeah, it was exciting. So the first half was all action. Second half was all like, who's on the right strategy?
Yeah.
Like we were losing our minds.
That the 10 car didn't even know until like 10 to go.
Dude, it felt so much better when I read that quote from Barry Wanzer because like T-Bell and I are up in the booth. We're like, I think that's good for this guy and bad for that guy. I think he can't make it, but he can he make it? And then when he said like, Wanzer was like, we didn't know if we were on the right thing or not until 10 to go. I'm like, okay, thank God. That's just terrific. That's terrific.
And then we got to give another shout out. I mean, it's well-deserved. And hell yeah, brother, Santino
Ferrucci. Absolutely. Like, drove a great race and then smashed the Miller Lights in turn 1.
So good. That is classic, so man. Good.
It's like every driver's dream end to a race is have a fan just toss you a cold, frosty one and knock it back.
I might park it outside turn 1 even if I'm not out of gas next time.
We saw Connor get a Depend sponsorship from Peen in his race car. I mean, how far out are we from a Miller Lite sponsorship for Santino?
They're already involved in Speedway.
It would be weird if Larry Foyt and co are not making phone calls first thing Monday morning to the Miller Coors Corporation. Be like, hey guys, do you see our boy on the weekend? Mm-hmm. And he's on a run of like 3 top 5s in a row or something.
Like 2 podiums, 3 top 5s. Yeah.
Yeah. He's on a roll, man. And to say Malukas has come back with great. Who else? VK had another great drive into the top 10.
Dog, P6.
Kiffin, another great result for Kiffin.
And we talked about Nolan earlier. We need to talk about a big result for him, P8, top McLaren car, which is pretty incredible when you think about it. But also, this is probably a little known fact, he had to come back from a little team error, which he was quiet about on the radio. So our boy learned his lesson.
I bet he was.
Somehow 3 primaries and 1 alternate ended up on his car.
No.
So I don't know when in the race that happened. I assume it was under yellow because he still got a good result, so it didn't like end his day. But yeah, that's not an awesome look.
It's not great.
No.
But yeah, P8. No.
Yeah.
Armstrong, P5. That was the other good one. Kirkwood hanging on to championship. Like Kirkwood looked like he was going to win at one point. We're like, okay, we got the championship battle tightens more.
We do
but
not. Nay.
No, the Solo Cup machine. It's so ironic that like the guy that doesn't really drink is sponsored by Solo Cup at Road America. We're like more than half the people there cruising around with Solo Cups.
You know, at least we're going into a permanent road course that he's really struggled at coming up.
Yeah, Mid-Ohio, he's been pretty good at in the past. And then what's
at least he sucks at Toronto.
That? I was going to say that Toronto. Remember when he came second or third with half a front wing?
Yeah.
From 18th or whatever he qualified.
He really struggles. Really struggles there. Yeah. Laguna, bad form. Portland. Oh.
Hey, have you guys thought about painting the white line?
Why don't you go paint the town red back there, pal?
Red like that bus behind you. What bus? Where are you, Tim? What is happening over here?
It's one of those Zoom backgrounds.
Yeah, it's not though.
Where are you?
In a hotel room. Where are you?
One of those Zoom backgrounds.
No, I see a red double-decker bus. What does that usually indicate?
And
they got really, really good Zoom backgrounds.
Is that a clock named after my son?
No, it's like the banks where they have like the time and the temperature. It's like an old one of those.
Oh, okay.
The other side's a giant thermometer.
What's that rushing water I can hear behind you?
What's
Is
the
it
what?
called the Thames?
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
It was like a river named after me by a guy with a lisp. Thames?
You guys sound ridiculous. I'm obviously in LA. I'm not the one who travels.
Right. So
that was
you're
your Ferris
London.
wheel ride, guys.
It was great. Yeah. So weirdly, guys, this week's Off Track, none of us are in our hometowns, but two of us are in the same town, which is often the case. Alex and I are often in Indianapolis, while Alex is in Altoona. Tim and I are in London and happen to run into each other in London.
I was keeping that a secret. Thank you.
Yeah, you were making big efforts on that.
I bet you both rather be where I am.
No.
Tim, I got a couch for you.
I'm good. I got a nice hotel room in there.
There you go.
So I'm not using because my daughter is asleep.
So you're on a family trip.
Yeah, what are you doing out here other than just following me around the world?
I heard
great timing that the double-decker bus is right there.
I'm just taking a page out of your book, and you often just show up to places where Alex and I say we're going to be for FOMO reasons, and so I just figured I'd do the same.
Now you get it. Now you see the appeal.
You're not getting like sized in anything.
I might do some clothing shopping while I'm here.
Because
you tried on some watches today.
Because
I did try some watches.
What is that? It's the famous row where all the suits are. Not Hedgerow.
Silverstone?
No.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of the name.
Famous street, London row suits.
Well, there's like King's
Seville
Road.
Seville Row.
Seville Row. There you go. Yes, I need to go to Seville Row and get a new suit for all my broadcasting, and that alone is why I'm in the United Kingdom.
I hear they have some nice fireproof ones. They make them out of Nomex now.
That sounds hot. That sounds very hot.
So wait, James, are you approximately 1.5 hours north of London right now?
No, I'm right in the city. I'm right in the big city at the moment.
Oh, do you have to go approximately 1.5 hours north of London tomorrow?
I'm going to tour around the country at various points. I have various stops that I have to make.
The changing of the guard tomorrow. Yeah.
We are going to do that. So we did the London Eye, which I'd never done, which was cool. And we're going to go see the guards changing, which I have done, but we'll see again. And then just some odd chores, some odds and ends, some bits and bobs I got to do around town before we head to Mid-Ohio. So,
nice.
James, you look pretty tired. Do you need to take a seat?
I do. Oh, I'm in a seat. I need to lie down, Tim. But thank you for your concern on that.
Do you know when
this is fun for me. This is good.
There used to be
He's
like
just trying to fit in
when Fry's Electronics was in existence, and maybe Best Buy did this, but like new electronics, you could like demo them.
Right. Yeah.
Did you ever do that or want to do that or get the chance to do that?
I hadn't, but I was
real quick.
hopeful that
Is
one
any
day
of this usable, or has this episode been done for 3 minutes?
I'm hoping that it's at some point in my life I'll get to demo some electronical machinery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With your suit from Seville Row.
Right. Or whatever, whatever the appropriate attire would be.
Right.
But I have to say that the weather's great here, which is not something you can often say in England.
Well, yeah. Otherwise, Tim wouldn't be outside in his Zoom background.
That's a great point. He wouldn't have said it to outside. So, Alex, what are you doing this weekend after your Iowa test?
I'm going to the lake, bro. I'm going to have a weekend off.
Nice.
It's going to be just a
Is
nice...
your boat fix?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, yes, but I'm not testing it out. That thing is for sale, and it is in perfect condition.
I thought you changed your mind on that.
And then it broke, James.
Before it blew up. But now it's all brand new.
For a new owner.
All right, well, if anybody's interested in a 2023 Mastercraft, whatever it is.
2020 Mastercraft X24 is for sale. Hit me up. It's got a new gearbox.
It's been towed to safety by Michael Andretti.
Man, he'll even sign it.
He'll definitely sign it. Yeah. So which lake are you going to?
I'm not telling you in case people want to find me. So
that's fair. We'll talk later. We'll have a great weekend off. Tim, have a blast in London and maybe some other town in Europe, like
still don't know what you're talking about.
Zurich or something. And
Paris.
we will see you guys next week. Next week.
Goodbye.
This has been Off Track with Hinch and Rossi. Off Track is part of the SiriusXM Sports Podcast Network. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, please give a 5-star rating and leave a review. Subscribe today wherever you stream your podcasts. We are at Ask Off Track on Twitter and Instagram, and if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at Hinchtown and at Alexander Rossi. If you want to follow Tim, though we have no idea why you would, he's at The Tim Durham on Twitter. Find us on YouTube and subscribe to our channel for exclusive video content. Off Track is produced by Tim Durham, and by that we mean Tim.